What the flock is going on, and welcome to FPL Today and this reaction to the Premier League fixtures which were announced on Thursday morning. Now this video is probably coming out Friday because unfortunately I had work, but we've got it out as quickly as we could for you. And let's react to the news and let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the fixture schedule and the players you will need for the beginning of your Fantasy Premier League season. So, as you can see, we've got the table from Fantasy Football Hub, and if you're interested in joining them and getting access to fixture tickers like this, and also OPTA stats and plenty of articles from some of the top FPL managers in the game, then make sure to check out the top link in the description and sign up for Fantasy Football Hub. But as you can see, the fixture ticker suggests that Wolves, Liverpool and Manchester City have the best first 6 fixtures for this game week. And just a little bit of news for you guys in regards to how the fixture calendar is different from most seasons. We do have the World Cup in November on the 21st until Sunday the 18th of December. So there will be a big break of 6 weeks for the World Cup this season. We also have an international break after game week 8, and that is the only international break. And some of the big teams will have a massive fixture pile up because of how they're trying to fit in this World Cup and get games played during a regular season. So that is something to keep in mind, of course. With that being said, Liverpool do have an absolutely amazing start, which makes the likes of Mohamed Salah, who is normally a strong starter in the Fantasy Premier League, a great option to go for. And the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Andrew Robertson have always been extremely consistent with their point scoring as defenders. Also brings in the likes of Luis Diaz, who had a great second half of the season at Liverpool after his transfer, and Darwin Núñez, who has just joined Liverpool recently, who could be another option depending on his price. Also, there's plenty of games here that are captain options for you, with the likes of Fulham and Bournemouth in there in the first 6, and you know, Liverpool and Man City could do well against anyone, of course, but there's some definitely tasty fixtures there to captain a Liverpool option. There's also the same to be said for Man City, who do have Bournemouth at home, and they have Nottingham Forest at home in their first 6 as well. So definitely plenty of options we could be looking at from Man City. Of course, none other than Erling Haaland could be amongst your thoughts, who could hit the ground running with such a decent first 6 games. But you also got the likes of Cancelo and Laporte, who are great defensive options. You've got Foden, depending on his form and if he's in the starting 11. And of course, Kevin De Bruyne, who just had a brilliant end to his season and looked basically undroppable. But we'll see what happens with Pep Roulette with this new way the fixtures have been done due to the World Cup. Now, if we're trying to fit in so many Man City and Liverpool players because their fixtures are so good, and they're going to be expensive, of course, because they're expected to be first and second in the Premier League, we're going to need some cheaper options from somewhere, and Brentford have a decent start to the season as well. That brings in the likes of Tony and Raya, who could be great options for your side, and maybe they'll bring in some decent options during the transfer window as well. With Fulham, Everton, Crystal Palace and Leeds as their games from game week 3 to 6, I think they could be a good option for some budget players, as well could be Aston Villa. Gerrard is definitely bringing in some very talented players into that Aston Villa side, and there is a slight concern that maybe it's too many players and they'll take some time to gel. But with the opening fixtures being the way they are, and the kind of players that Gerrard is bringing in, I do fancy Aston Villa with the likes of Bournemouth and Everton in the first 2. They also have Crystal Palace and West Ham, then Arsenal, Man City, so it does drop off a bit in the first 6. As you can see there, I've kind of prioritised the first 3 game weeks there, because then potentially you could transfer them out for a better budget option if you can find one. If we actually have a look at the first 3 fixtures, Leicester City are top of the table with Spurs second, and of course Spurs have the likes of Son, Harry Kane and Kulusevski to consider. Also with the likes of Ivan Perisic joining and Basuma also joining the club as well. Spurs options will also be heavily sought after in game week 1. A side that could offer some options are Arsenal, who do have Crystal Palace, Leicester and Bournemouth in the first 3, and potentially they might have some budget options there. There's of course a rumoured transfer of Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal, who you could consider, and it'll be interesting to see what the prices are of players like Saka, who probably were undervalued last season. Potentially the likes of Martinelli could come in at a more friendly price if they are in the starting 11, and Kieran Tierney, who knows what price he'll come in at, because he does seem to have a bit of an injury problem, but if he's at a friendly price, he could be someone to consider as well. And quickly before we go, if we do look at the first 10 game weeks, if you want to think a little bit more long term, after the international break, you do have some tasty fixtures for some sides, but Man City do sit top of the fixture ticker for the first 10 game weeks, which isn't a surprise really. It's usually Liverpool or Man City if you look long term, but Brentford also look like they have a decent run of fixtures if you can find a potential option that could rotate on the bench. Leeds, depending on how they start the season, also look like they could have a decent first 10 game weeks. But it does show that Arsenal, again, if they do have any value there, could be ones to look at. And then, of course, Nottingham Forest could offer you that budget, coming in at 5th on the fixture ticker, just above Liverpool. And despite the fact they do have Man City and Tottenham in a terrible game week 4 and 5, after that it's Bournemouth, Leeds, Fulham, Leicester and Aston Villa for Nottingham Forest. So maybe there could be an option there, maybe like Dean Henderson, who has been rumoured to be going to Nottingham Forest on loan. Anyway guys, that is it for this quick reaction to the new fixtures for the Premier League. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and if you have enjoyed this video and it's been insightful for you, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really does help the channel out and your support is much appreciated. With that being said, I've been JNO, this has been FPL Today, and remember, it's all about the game.